What is up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rapid Sparse, coming to you live. It is 4:11 Best Coast time. I'm excited for today's fights. I hope that you guys are as well. We have an incredible night full of nonsense. I mean, it's a Gregor fight night, so, whenever you got a Conor McGregor fight, you're in for some things ahead of you. So I'm glad that you guys are here. Don't mind me. I have to take a couple screenshots because, as you know, when we do our giveaways, we have to make sure that everybody's voting is finalized. And with that, I do have everybody finalized now. It's going to be an interesting night to see how everybody does. I hope that you voted. I hope that you played along. If not, I really can't be held accountable for it. At this point, I gave you guys plenty of time to come on in. In a few minutes, we'll be hearing from our good friend Dan Hubler. But in time, on the screen right now, we are starting with the very first early prelim as presented by ESPN+. Honestly, I don't even remember at this point if it's just ESPN or ESPN+. Anyway, here's what we got going on. We're going to be here for part of the night. We're going to do early prelims, like a couple fights. I'm going to take a break. And then we're going to come back for the main card at UFC 257, a.k.a. the show that Dana White probably really can't shut down. He's going to try and shut down those other ones, but we're probably in the up and up as far as being able to get away with what we do. In any event, I'm so pleased that you guys are joining us. Please feel free to put comments, reactions, things you like, things you don't like into the comments section. We're more than happy to accommodate some of them, not all of them. I won't promise you that. But we're already starting off with the action right now. You got Albazi and you've got Zumilov, who are in the middle of the octagon. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful evening. And yes, we have a policy on the show to toast those who get finishes within regulation. We also have a policy of toasting those who give us a like and a share on their Facebook or subscription over on the YouTube. We just ask very simple things, which is be nice, respect each other, be kind of cool to one another, and then we go from there. We are at 4:30 on my clock. Hopefully you're somewhere in that region. If not, my apologies to you. But you've got Albazi in the black trunks and Zugman in the blue trunks. As I mentioned previously, we also want to give love to our friends over at Nogi BJJ Gear, who have since rebranded to X Marshall. Cannot get more love out of it. And I got to ask you as well to give some love to our friends over at Dodgy Collective and also the good folks over at Manscaped. If you use the promo code VerbalTap, you get 20% off of whatever you put in the cart. All right, we're already off to the races. So far, you've had Albazi being a very, very aggressive striker to begin. Zumilov is not tentative, but I mean, he gets a good right hook in here at the very beginning of this fight. Gentlemen are very much feeling each other out as we are feeling each other out, so don't feel shy. Comment, come on in, announce that you're around, tell us a few jokes, or, tell us whatever it is that you want to hear, as we'll be doing a little bit of slight play-by-play. For those of you who are without cable or the ability to watch this one, we are also here for you guys. We do a little bit of multitasking to make sure that everybody is taken care of. Also, starting right back up, Zumilov. It's very interesting. Like, these guys have very strange names, if we're being honest. So it is going to be highly likely that I mess them up at least several times this evening. As we mentioned, give us a like and a share on Facebook. We give you a toast on air. And we do our best to go ahead and take care of all those folks who are watching along with us right now. And listen, look at this. Albazi is pushing the pressure right now. He's forced Zumilov against the cage at least 2 times thus far in. Comes in with a knee, and Zumilov actually sidesteps that one. Nicely done on his part. The aggressor thus far in has been clearly, to say the least, one Albazi. Of course, we have a lot of great fights ahead of us. I hope that you guys, as we mentioned before, got the chance to come in and vote. If you didn't, you missed out, and I can't say anything more than that. That's the rules. We make sure that the voting is closed once the fights begin for that fight. Because if you guys try to come in after that, we know. That's why we take these screenshots now, to make sure people don't try to sneak in, steal the prize that we give out to other people. Because, listen, we love those people who come in, they vote, they give us some love, they give us some appreciation, they come in week after week. I mean, listen, we've been doing this now for what? Almost 9 months straight of just UFC after UFC coming in, chatting with you guys. we have a policy to make sure that you guys enjoy yourselves and that you also get a little bit of fun throughout the evening. So already to the races, a minute 30 left in this first round. Zumilov still trying to find his takedown here. Thus far unsuccessful. Oh, yeah, that's the beer I needed all week. You know, it's kind of interesting. I do appreciate drinking, but I really do consolidate my drinking to just time spent with you guys. Some people might say that drinking amongst internet friends is a form of alcoholism. I say prove it. 1 minute left. Albazi continuing to push Zumilov against the cage. Zumilov maybe trying to let him draw in for a little bit here, but I don't love this. Goes for some spinning back fist shit, and that definitely makes Albazi smile a little bit, because I think that's the kind of chaotic game he wants to play here. Although Zumilov actually gets in a nice right and left there. Good on him. On the call today, it sounds like it's DC, Felder, and Anik. Don't know what that is, but that is the first takedown for Zumilov, and the strikes are as such: 18, 5, and 6 in favor of Albazi to 8, 11, and 2 from upper to lower body here. But that takedown is going to be very nice to get, though he's not going to have a ton of time to work here from inside of the guard. Albazi being pretty active from this guard. We'll probably see him look for a sweep, but he's not going to have enough time to even do that. So that is going to conclude the very first round of action. Again, what a pleasure it is to have you guys. I'll even let you guys in on a little bit of the how the show gets made. So as you see right here, normally we have a little bottom part that we say what we're watching and whatnot. I didn't get the chance to actually put that one up, so you're going to see me actually put it up as if I was supposed to have done it earlier. And oddly, it doesn't actually put up in the right form. I actually have to format it for just a split second. So, wha-bam. Look at this. Look at this professional fucking shit that we do on this show. So yes, you're watching UFC 257 with us. And as we mentioned, we'll be doing a little bit of Risk It All with Dan Hubler as soon as he gets on the call. So very much looking forward to seeing our friend chime back in, jump in with us, chat a little bit about his picks, and then we're going to pick up steam. We're going to be doing this all evening long. So don't go anywhere. Hope you're excited. Hope you're ready for tonight's fights. Love to hear what you're waiting to see the most. Are you the most interested in Conor McGregor, or do you have other fights that you're more interested in? I don't think you do. I think it's the Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier that's probably taking up the largest part of your brain right now. We now go into the second round of the very first prelim. It's also weird to hear how some of these fights came together. Matt Frivola, what a fucking race that guy had to shape over the weekend. Finding out that you've got opponent switches all over the place. You get one opponent who at a certain point thought that he could sneak somebody in and change some wristbands. I mean, holy fuck. The fact that there's footage of it that they're still talking about doesn't even make sense. But either way, still very active right now. And they're saying 10-9 round for Albazi, even though it was a competitive round. It's a so-so competitive one. Joffrey, great to see you, Raph. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You guys are a great deal of the responsibility of these shows being so fun. So I salute you. Thank you very much, Joffrey. Hope you're having a great night. Joffrey, one of our regulars, coming to say hello. And as you guys chime in with your comments, we can put them up on the screen and say hello right back to you guys. That's our interactive nature on this show. Oof. Just to give you a little bit of a hint as to how our audience saw this one going. So far, it is going against the will of the Verbal Tap audience, who is coming in at 64% in belief that Zumilov is going to win this bout. Anything can still happen. 2 rounds here. You're seeing a lot more active round from Zumilov. Gets in a nice right hand there as well. Hopefully he's a little bit more comfortable, but you got to believe that that takedown that he scored was one that probably gave him a little bit more confidence in this particular fight. So we'll be looking to see how he implements that going forward. We also want you guys to feel at home. I know it's kind of weird to have a big fight like this. Maybe you're not watching it with friends, but we will be your friends tonight. We want you guys to have a nice, big, festive feeling. All these big shows are usually pretty exciting to see, especially with some kind of caliber of the folks that we have here tonight. It's kind of weird to see Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor so buddy-buddy, though, right? Like, that's weird. It's been very strange. Ooh, nice overhand right crack by Zumilov. However, he is continuously backing up a little bit more. All the way over the cage, centers himself back a little bit more. Midsection. Albazi being pretty patient here. I think he's really, really trying to make sure that he's going to be very, very weary of what it is that Zumilov might be putting out here. What a beautiful day it is to have all of you guys joining us. As we mentioned, give us a like and a share. Joe Levis Jr., thank you so much for the like. As we'll remind you guys, if you give us a like and a share, we give you a toast on air. To Becky Eiler, thank you so much for giving us a like. You're just a share away from getting a toast on air, just like we do to those fighters who get finishes within regulation. It is a policy on the show that I don't think anybody else has. And if they do, they stole it from us. Way more active here. Albazi goes up with the flying knee, doesn't find a home just yet. You're looking around continuously. Gentleman kind of shuffling in the steps. Zumilov, it seems that he gets a little bit knocked out of his rhythm here every once in a while. Albazi does a really interesting job of not only blocking the shots, but as he's doing it, sidestepping with strikes. It's very interesting to see. Zumilov, though, still trying to duck underneath and press forward with his punches, almost looking to see if he can find a different way of cutting through the distance here. We got 1 minute left to go in the second round. You're already seeing these gents kind of letting it go. But when they start to reserve their energy right now, I think they both expect a third round. You're not seeing anything super crazy. Hey, what's up, best friend? Look at that. Bobby V coming in to say hello. Bobby V, my longest tenured friend, best friend in the whole world. Sorry to the rest of you vying for that. Bobby's been a huge portion of not only my life, but my family at this point. It's always funny to see it. Every once in a while, Dad's like, how's Bobby? Bobby's fine. When you see him, I don't know. I'll see him when I see him. Probably online in like 20 minutes, Dad. Zumilov tries for a takedown here and may have his back compromised, but there's not going to be too much to lose here. And it says Robin 2, 1A, 1B. Absolutely, Robin is in that running. But Robin's not here right now, so she'll never see this. And if she does, then we'll work out that problem there. End of the second round. Ooh. Albazi looking pretty good. I'd still say the fight is his. Just in his ability to make Zumilov just continuously off of the game that I think he's trying to impose here. Right now, over on the side, the coach is slapping the shit back into Zumilov as he's got a nice Ziploc bag full of ice, trying to restore a little bit of the energy over on the shoulders. And yes, you are hearing sounds of fans back in the stadium. Over in Abu Dhabi, they have made a policy for it's 18,000 capacity that only has 2,000 fans, which, cool. A lot of the fighters have missed having the fans in their presence. They say it usually charges them up. We've heard some of the fighters that we've interviewed who have said, it's kind of weird, but at the same point, you can hear what they're telling their opponent in their corner. So, a little bit of pluses and minuses. Round number trace in this systems right now. 4:50 on my clock. Hopefully you were somewhere in that region. Zumilov probably knows that he is down on the points thus far in. Albazi being very active, gets a nice kick in. And Bobby saying, is the fight on ESPN? It is on ESPN. Pay-per-view is going to happen a little bit later. So pay-per-view starts at 7 p.m. our time. But for the meantime, you can find this on your ESPN Plus app. I think, if you have that. And then I believe the prelims will also go through on ESPN starting at 5 p.m. our time. I don't want to say that Albazi is really injuring Zumilov. I think Zumilov is just trying to stay out of the region. A nice level switch by Albazi, who now is putting it on so much for Zumilov. When he's spinning back fists, he literally does it out of pure hope and adrenaline. Beautiful takedown by Albazi. Staying on top, he's inside of the guard. He looks like he wants to pass. I have to give some credit to Zumilov, though. Zumilov gets a nice guard very quickly here. 345. This is not going to be a great place because Albazi looks like he stays very active from inside of the guard. He's already trying to pull the arms, getting 2, 3, 4 good strikes thus far in, and now they're just rabbit punching each other. These, I mean, again, as somebody who's never really fought, I can't tell you they don't hurt, but all things considered, hurts way less, just from what we can see here. Things are looking like they're taking a slight breather for both of these gents. 3 minutes left to go. It's very strange to see them. I don't know if you guys saw this. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But I think one of the funniest things that I saw during the weigh-ins was during one of the weigh-ins, when they showed the fighters going to square up with one another, they did a "Where's Connor" cam in the bottom right-hand corner. And all I could think of was, oh, the disrespect. Like, dude, he's coming here. Like, what more do you need to see? Let's talk a little bit about the jiu-jitsu that we're seeing right in front of us, though. Albazi already working to take the back here. I like the systematic approach that he's using. He has one hook in, and he's being relentless with this head and arm control. He is now underneath the chin. He loses that ability. He is now opting to go straight into a body triangle. Nope. Switches it back on over. Has both hooks in. He is going to have time to work. This is not looking good for Zumilov. Yep. This is where things, some people will say, can be a little bit dirty just in terms of how you're fighting. But man, when that shit goes over the mouth, in between the nose, it's not pleasant to try and fight that off for an extended period of time. This will almost certainly win him the fight. But if he gets a finish here, I would not be surprised, if we're being fully honest. All right, last minute 50. We'll have to see what is happening here over on this side. Oh, no. Eek. Things are not looking too good. Zumilov is fighting a 2-on-1 battle here. He has one of his arms compromised, and he's almost sticking his neck out a little bit at an off angle so that Albazi can't finish the rear naked choke here, but the control is basically winding down the clock enough so that we may not see too much movement from either of these gents from this position. Underneath the chin, continuously back and forth. He's going to press him on over. He does get one of the hooks out, and he gets right back up. 1 minute left to go. He starts immediately putting in some punches. Zumilov basically losing eye on the sight of the plan very quickly. Now 54 seconds left in this. I have to say, though, Zumilov used that opportunity as a little bit of a rest period. He is coming up focused. He knows he needs a finish. Gets a nice plopped left. Takes a knee as well. I got to give it to Zumilov, though. He is, at the very least, giving us the biggest bang for the buck that you can get with a very limited amount of time to work. He gets chopped on the left leg, and he still keeps firing, pressing forward. It's looking very dim. And even the punches don't even have much more of an effect at this point. I think he's just kind of awkwardly planting, which allows Albazi to almost do a jumping knee and connect. Yeah, I don't know if he is fully okay at this point, but he will survive the rest of this fight, which will allow Albazi to get the win, as he knows he will be crowned the winner in just a few short minutes. And that's our first fight, everybody. That's a pretty good start to the day. I'm pretty stoked by that. It is a pleasure to have you. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Rafa Esparza. I host many shows, the two of which that you probably know are Verbal Tap and Grappling Hour. And if you don't know those, well, welcome. I welcome you to this show. This is our live fight companion. We watch the shows just in case you are unable to find a crack stream because, Dana White's coming after that guy. He's tapped his phone. It's weird, right? Like, Dana White saying that he's tapping a guy's phone. Do you guys actually think that Dana White has a person that he is going out there and harassing or tapping their phone? This sounds like an imaginary thing. Like, this is Dana White's version of talking about a girlfriend that he really doesn't even have. So, there you have it. Yes, and just in terms of the points scored, this is a 29-28 for Amir Albazi, and I mean, I could make the argument it could have been 3 rounds, but I'll settle for 2, and 2 out of 3 of those rounds as a win is good enough. Albazi goes to kiss the mat. I wonder if they will be speaking with him. There we go. Jon Anik slowly makes his way into the octagon. Don't love the dark suit on dark suit look for one Jon Anik. Maybe he's trying to just fit into the region. These dark on dark looks like they're going to prom all the way back in like the late 90s. Oh no. So Albazi is dedicating this to anybody who shed blood in his country. And he's giving love to his corner, saying thank you very much. Unfortunately, there is no finish here, so we will not be cheersing them. We could be cheersing you. If you give us a like and a share over on your Facebook, we will give you a toast on air. It's as easy as it goes. And for all the work that he did, we'll still not cheers him, but we'll cheers you. That's how easy this shit is. Alright, well, that's a good start off to the night. Just to let you know, we still will find people this evening to chat along with. We're going to have some friends drop in a little bit later, but we are going to keep our eyes on the prize just in case you guys are looking to, have some company this evening. Grab a beer, cheers along with us, make some friends, all the usuals. That's pretty much what we're doing over this evening. So we got another fight coming up in just a second. This one is friend of the show, Nick Lentz, who, BT Dubs, is winning the popular vote in terms of who people think is going to win this evening. I don't know how Nick knows us. I think it's just through our memes. He's shared a few over the time, and I'm very glad that he is going to do that. And for some more clarification, Brett Okamoto says, Amir Albazi dedicates his win tonight to the city of Baghdad, which has been recently hit by a pair of suicide bombings. Albazi has a great story. His family fled from Iraq when he was 7, but he still loves it and wants to be a symbol of hope for his birthplace. That is a great story. Thank you very much to Brett Okamoto for sharing that one. Now, this is a 150-pound catchweight bout that is between an unbeaten monster in Mosvar Ivalov and vet from the UFC, one Nick Lentz. When we come back, we don't go to commercials. Sorry, I have a slight moment when I think maybe we get commercials. That would be fun. Ultimately, one day, we will have more and more commercials come into the show. But in the meantime, we stick with you even as the commercials take us out. It's pretty funny. But things are off to a good start. Our resident better-in-chief won Korean Zombie, as I see on the polls, which, by the way, he is not eligible to win the polls prizes, but he still votes anyway, just because he likes the thrill of the hunt. He is 1 for 1 on UFC fight picks from that side. Speak of the devil and say his name, he will come into the place. So we're going to bring him in just a second, but for the time being, I think what we have to do is run his promo music, because we don't just make these things without using them. So here is what we are going to do. Let's run the graphic to bring on our good friend, one Dan Hubler.
Better have my money. Bitch better have my money. Hey, what you owe me? Bitch better have my money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. One Dan Hubler. Dan, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm down $5, so that's the end.
So let me get this straight. Was that the $5 that you were suggesting that people do?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you read my analysis of that fight. I did say it was going to be very close, so
Sure.
I will say that. I did think that he was going to kind of turn it on. Zagulov was going to turn it on in the later rounds. Unfortunately, he got his back taken. Very similar to what we saw with Aldo versus Vera. In that fight going into round 3, where both fighters had probably won a round. Round 3's up for grabs. You had a situation where someone got a back take and used that riding time to dominate, in that round and win the fight. So, good on him. But it was a close one. It was good.
Well, let's talk about other fights. So we're still switching the way that we present things, but I want to show you how things are going to look like, hopefully, going forward when you stop by. But Dan, I want you to take a look at this, because we have your fight picks up, and rather than it be over my beautiful face, we decided to make it go where it looks like this. So look at this.
Yeah.
Is this not professional or not?
Yeah, that looks great. It'd look even better if we had a win on there already, but I'll settle for this.
Would you mind walking us through what you got going on tonight, sir?
Yeah, so moving past that first fight, we're looking at not the fight that's happening right now, but it's coming up. I think there's a couple more before it. But Roundtree making his comeback. He retired 2 years ago. His retirement didn't last very long. Even during retirement, he was still kind of like training people, over in Thailand and staying involved. So I didn't really think he was really out of the sport forever. But I'm glad to see him back. And in that fight, it's looking like we're going to see some fireworks pretty early. Both of these guys, in their last 3 fights, Roundtree's been knocked out twice, in the first round, and the other guy, he's been knocked out all 3 times. I can't even pronounce his name correctly. That's how little he's had time in the octagon to make an impression. So this is a fight where I don't know who's going to win, because both of these guys have a lot of power. They both are pretty fragile. They both been knocked out quite a bit in the first round lately. So I'm betting that the fight just probably will not go into round 2. I'm taking the under 1.5 rounds, minus 190, betting $5 to win 263.
So when you have to make the bets, when you're saying it doesn't go into a certain round, at what point, like, how do you differentiate rounds like, say, 2 it won't go to round 2 or round 3 it won't go to round 3?
Well, for this one, I was kind of looking around at the different plays, and there, you can always bet it won't go into round 3. You could bet it won't go the distance. You could take the under bet like I did in this one, and the under bet seemed like the best value. I was looking at fight doesn't go the distance was somewhere like minus 550, something like that. You got to bet $550 to win $100. That's pretty high. So I was looking at where's the happy medium. What am I? I think that this fight will probably be over in the first round. I don't really want to bet that it goes is over in the first round, just because always feeling out process, whatever happens. So I took under 1.5. I feel better with that little half round cushion, and I think the value is there.
All right, let's go back to your bet.
Yeah, so next up I got Dan Hooker, which is all the way on the co-main event. I'm taking Hooker scorecards no action. And what that means, again, for those of you who don't bet a lot, is scorecards no action means if it goes to the judges' scorecards, your bet is simply canceled and you get your money back. It means you don't win, you don't lose, you get your money back. The reason I like scorecards no action type prop bets is because of fights like this. We have a situation where we have, Hooker, who is extremely durable. We've seen him, finish once, and it was more like a compound TKO over the course of like 3 rounds of just destroying each other against Barboza. But other than that, the kid is extremely durable. Not only that, he's younger. He's got the reach. He has the height advantage. He should have, the ability to be the more physical guy in there. If he lets Chandler, maybe throw his biggest shots in the first round, we could see him maybe steal the later half of the fight. But I'm not sure how this fight's going to really go as far as the judges. If this goes the entire fight, I'm not confident Hooker's going to win a decision, because we've seen him fight very close fights in the past. So what I do think with this fight is if someone's gonna get a finish, it's gonna be Hooker. I don't think Chandler is going to kind of starch him early on like he has in Bellator. I think that's kind of something that's going to be part of his Bellator career, not so much of his UFC career. And I think out of the two of these guys, who's more likely to get a finish, I'm saying it's Hooker. And so I'm taking Hooker's scorecards no action, minus 210. If Hooker gets the win inside the distance, I win my bet. If it goes to the judges, no bet. I just get my money back. The only way I lose this one is if Hooker gets knocked out, which don't see that happening.
Fascinating. Oh, shit. We fucked that up. I thought that would work a little bit better here, but it's not. Fuck this. Get rid of picture-to-picture. God damn it. All right, taking you back to this one. God damn it. We were just, we got a little too cocky at that point. I said, maybe this is going to picture-in-picture me, and instead it changed your fucking trans. And we're back. All right. Let's ask this, though. When you start looking, though, at that, and you're saying Hooker's in there, is it in partiality because Michael Chandler is such a weird X factor in this?
I mean, when we look at their body of work, I mean, Hooker has been the more durable guy. When you look at, Chandler and his history, even in Bellator, it's been less than 2 years since he was, put on his ass by Pitbull back in Bellator. So it's not that, it's not that far removed. And when we look at, their last couple of years, Hooker has looked extremely durable. He's shown that he can fight a full 25-minute championship rounds and go the entire time. So I think out of the two of the guys, when we compare how they've done in the last couple of years, the guy who's most likely to get a finish is going to be Hooker.
I had actually, I think it was right before you showed up, I had responded to a text to somebody who asked me my picks, and I had put, I'm kind of going Chandler, let's say that. And he just looked at me and he goes, it's hard. And I go, listen, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that I think it's there. I just would like to put a chance. If Hooker beats him up, I don't really give a fuck. I would just like to see the X factor that Chandler could present to that division just from an uncertainty aspect. It would be nice to have even more shit make it more interesting because, as we've seen in the past week, the Khabib UFC's Got Talent narrative isn't going to fly for that long. Like, he's either going to fight or he's not. But if he doesn't, we've still got a perfectly fun division to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be difficult to also ignore, the rumors around Chandler and any potential doping he's been involved in the past and, flown under the radar because he's avoided USADA being in Bellator and stuff like that. So, I mean, if there's any credibility to any of those rumors, and I'm not saying there is, I don't know, we probably see a drop off in his performance in this fight, wouldn't we? So, I mean, it feels like if you it's difficult to leave that out there. I mean, but it just seems like one of those intangibles that you have to give the advantage to Hooker.
Dan, if you knew that I was on performance enhancers, would you tell anybody?
I'd probably tell you should get a refund for whatever it is you paid.
I didn't say as if I was on them currently. I'm talking about a hypothetical in the future where I could be on steroids. Clearly, I am not right now, Dan.
Yeah. I don't know, man. They made a Netflix documentary about me. They've been doing some pretty good ones lately about the snitches and the drugs and stuff. So maybe.
I guess the information that I just pulled out of you without you knowing it is, you wouldn't necessarily rat on me, but if the price was good, you definitely would consider it for a little bit. So
everyone's got a price, man.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's go back to this because I'm going to fix this. I am going to make... Okay. Hi, everybody. I fucked this up. I'm going to put Dan back in the bubble. I'm just going to have to... No, hold on. I can do this. I can do it on the fly. That's what fucking professionals do, Dan. Oh, I know what it's supposed to happen here. Okay. I'm going to have you start talking, and in the amount of time that you start talking, I will have this fixed up in 1, 2, 3. Go right ahead. See? Bam. You're back.
Well, my analysis for this fight was really short. I don't know if you read my email, but McGregor minus 5.5 points, minus 255, betting $5 to win, $1.96. McGregor said he's going to knock the guy out in 60 seconds. I believe him. He looked great. Coach Kavanaugh, has said wonderful things about him this week and leading up to this fight. He looks like he's in great shape. He looks like he's focused. I have no reason to not believe him in this fight that he's going to go for that knockout. So I'm taking it. I'm saying I'm not so positive. I mean, we've seen Poirier has held up, well in some fights. So I'm not comfortable betting the early knockout like I know some people probably are, but I am comfortable giving up 5.5 points, which is quite a few points when you think about a championship fight that he's going to get done.
Is there anything that gives you pause about McGregor right now?
I don't know, man. I know he needs the money. So I mean, he's got all these legal issues going on, and you know the guy needs it. So it's not just the case where he's just kind of saying like, yeah, I got nothing else, we might as well fight. This guy needs the money. So I'm sure he's going to be fighting like he needs it, and if he's fighting like he needs it, I see him getting done.
I just like the fact that not only does he need it from that standpoint, but in my brain, he needs it because he keeps popping out these kids.
Yeah, the ones we know of too. There's so many of these cases popping up. You ever dive deep into like the MMA online community? It's pretty gross. Like surface level, there's just like the fans who just like to cheer for the fighters that they like and whatever. But it gets really toxic right below that. And if you ever read like the online forums and the people who are like sharing these what's that app that everyone uses internationally? WhatsApp. All these WhatsApp videos from like Ireland of like, look at this video I have of Conor all coked out in a club. Have you seen this? Like they show all this, they share all this crazy stuff. It's pretty crazy, man. It's a weird vibe. Don't dive too deep in, guys. I know it's fun to find the stats and look into research and say like, hey, you want to bet on a fight? I want to know if the guy's working out, and I guess it's important to know if he's been hanging out in crack dens too. But it is very toxic.
I'm so glad that you do the hard work for us, Dan, because I got to be honest with you. I have a certain amount of interest before it dies out, and I go, I don't care.
Yeah, and even going into this fight, you'd be hard pressed not to look it up. And like, I don't know, has he been in crack dens before this fight? I want to know that before I put some money on the guy. And so far, internet, don't worry, does not look like Conor's been in crack dens for this fight. Looks like he's in great shape. Things are looking good.
Yeah, I think I want to root for the Conor McGregor that wins this fight because there's a part of me that still believes he wins. Dana can't talk Khabib into it, and then we're just kind of stuck finding a way that we have to give him the championship. Like, I want them to be so pressed that they basically Dana talked a good game, or, and this is something I've only recently considered, but it is a lesser likely one, which is if we're going real deep on conspiracy for Dana, maybe he's told Khabib to play it cool, but that he has secured one more contract. The only difference is how much did he have to give and how much was it that Khabib wanted? Because to me, even seeing today, Conor McGregor is only going to score $5 million for this fight here tonight against Dustin Poirier's promised $1 million. Which to most people sounds like a lot, and it is, but all things considered to boxing, it's still pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a Conor McGregor win is going to always pretty much be good for the sport. You could talk about the morality of it all. It's a different conversation. But I think outside of that, a Conor McGregor win is always good for the sport. It always gets more eyes, on the event. It's more people talking about it the Monday after. It's good for the overall growth of the sport if Conor McGregor wins a fight. And Dustin Poirier, obviously is a great story. He's an exciting guy, and you want to cheer for him. But he just doesn't have that it factor like Conor does, and he doesn't bring the same eyes that Conor does. And there's a reason why he gets paid more than everyone else, and it's because he's doing more.
Yeah, he very much sells these fights. And I mean, listen, dude, did you feel it was weird at all to see them go from like crazy adversaries to buddy on
Not at all. Not at all. Just because of all the legal things going on right now with Conor, you can't be accused of like grabbing women sexually and also be acting like a dick in press conference. You can't do both. Like that's going full on. Like there's no way he comes back from that. So I think with all those negative things about him in the media, you gotta play the baby face for the MMA community. Otherwise, you just look like a piece of shit. Then you turn full Greg Hardy. Everyone just wants you to get fucked up every fight.
I just knew that after Conor had a couple losses on his record that I said, this Khabib fight is going to change the way he sells fights because he can't talk about being this invincible fighter with a record. He can't talk about being able to best people when he's got a major loss against Mayweather, and then he's coming off another major loss against Khabib. There's going to have to be a switch. And the switch right now is the full PR spectacle of lovable Conor, the one that basically says like cowboy's grandma came up to me and said, you're a true man. Or, oh man, look over here. I'm going to donate $500,000 to this guy because he's doing great things with charity, to the point where even Dustin Poirier is like, fuck, I got to say something nice back about you too, don't I? It's for charity, it's for charity, it's for charity.
Yeah, it's a nice story. It's nice that he did that, but it's all part of the circus, man. It's all part of the game.
Well, I got a couple quick questions for you. Number one, you said that you're tapped more into that betting community. How is the betting community taking the Dana White is going to crack down on crack streams in it right now?
They think it's a fucking joke. They think it's a fucking joke. But, it is, even probably, how old is your mom? She's got to be up. She's probably heard of a VPN at this point. Everyone knows what a fucking VPN is at this point. So do I think anyone's going to get arrested today? Probably not. But, you can always count on them to continue to find new ways to try and catch streamers. It's going to happen. As technology develops, there'll always be new ways to get away with it. There'll be new ways that they try and catch them, but they're never going to get everybody. Come on.
I still appreciate the fact that it sounds like Dana White when he says, we got a guy. It 100% to me sounds like he's invented a fake girlfriend that goes, her name's Jackie. She doesn't go to this school. She goes to another school. It's like, I bet you really do have this guy that you've been tagging on the phone and basically doing Patriot Act, the second coming. Like, especially when he's saying we've tapped his phones and we're doing all this shit.
The guy, It sounds when he was start going off on them, I think this guy's admitting to do some illegal shit right now. I don't know if you can be doing all that, Dan. There's fucking laws, man. What it reminded me of, though, is thinking back to the UFC pay-per-views. And, I think it was pre-merger when they used to send Joanne Productions out to local gyms and try and bust people who were showing the fights at their gyms because you have to pay a different rate if you showed at a business. And they'd send these regular-looking dudes in to go watch the fight, take some pictures, and then they'd send you the court documents. Later on they'd serve you. So I think they're definitely petty enough to try and if Dana knew some guy was streaming out of his mom's garage, I think he's petty enough to try and sue the shit out of that guy, knowing that he has nothing or whatever. But I think it's definitely not something that is going to happen like Dana thinks it's going to happen.
It's still hilarious, and I'm sure this is what he feels great about. And I would be even more entertained if the piracy division just give him like one guy that we like pretend it's Jim, and he won't know the difference, and we'll go do a fake bust on Jim's house just to appease him, to get us. Because that Dana's not telling you this, like, don't pirate this fucking Amanda Nunes fight. It's like, he's not worried about that one. He's worried about his cash cow.
Yeah. And I mean, if the fight goes the way it's going to go, it's going to be on SportsCenter, later tonight, and it's going to be on every fucking media center by tomorrow anyway. I do think that piracy is something that is never going to be 100% contained, but it's also a good thing that's not 100% contained because you get the eyes on the sport that we're never going to pay for the event anyway. You know what I mean? I think you kind of have to recognize the fact that there are some people watching who would never have to pay for it or who would never have paid for it anyway. Their eyes on the sport does grow the sport at some level. Is it ideal that people are streaming the fights and not paying for it? Absolutely not. Are you losing some money in opportunity costs? Absolutely. But there's argument that a lot of these people weren't going to pay for it anyway. At least they're involved in the sport. They're spending their money at the bars or wherever they're doing. And I don't know. I think it's just something that it just is. It's not something you can do anything about. It's the way it is.
I'm sorry. This Evlov piecing out Nick Lentz, who is a fan of the show apparently, is progressively harder to watch as it goes on, especially considering Lentz looked like he at least had a couple good guillotine attempts or slowing him down, but it is not looking good in the facial region for him. I would tell you this though, Dan, you and I, obviously, we're upstanding individuals, we're paying our stuff, we're eating our vitamins, all of that good stuff. I just know that for the UFC to be putting it out here, I just hope that it becomes less comedically absurd to the point where I go, yeah, Dana's on one right now. He'll get off his high horse in about a month or so.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will maybe catch one guy and make a big deal out of it, and Dana will feel good about himself or whatever. But I think even Nick Manier was making jokes about it on his Facebook story earlier today. So I don't think it's something that the UFC is 100%, standing behind Dana White on. I think it's kind of just let the guy have his fucking moment and let him talk.
Well, I would also be remiss if I were not to ask this question, which is, you're already at least 2 events in the rear view right now. How are you looking in your pool thus far in 2021, Dan?
Not good, man. Last year I won the first 16 fights in a row without missing a single one. I got all 16 of the first ones right. But this year we've seen some craziness. And I was just thinking about it the other day with the Max Holloway Cater fight. And I picked Cater in that fight, and I thank God for my official pick for here. I picked scorecards, no action, and thank God his chin held up all the way until it did, and Herb didn't let it go. Not so much for Cater, because I'm sure he took some pretty serious damage in that fight, but good for the bet. Good for the bet not losing because it went to the judges. But who would have thought Max would throw 600 strikes in a fight? I mean, that's one of the exciting things about MMA, and one of the exciting things about betting MMA is, like, you just never know what the fuck is going to happen. Like, this guy, if you look back at his previous performances, were there glimpses of that? Absolutely. But had he ever done anything close to that in a fight? Hell no. So it's like to see that happen, like to see that transition and the improvement from fight to fight, and in that last round where he's fucking shit talking the commentary team and ducking punches at the same time, my God, like that's high level shit, man. Like it's beautiful to watch, even in a loss, even in something that you never would have predicted. It's just a beautiful thing to watch.
I can't tell you how much I would prefer to have Max Holloway on the commentary team over DC, because I would love to hear his ridiculous accent being like, "Oh man, he cracked him real good there. Yeah, that looked like it hurt a lot. Like I hear him like 15 times like that. Like that was fun, man. Like And I'd be like, this is way better than DC. I will take him and his pigeony talk 1,000,000 times more than any Daniel DC with a telestrator.
I was with you for a little while when I started thinking about it, and I'm gonna take the other stance on that one. That'd be like the equivalent of like the NFL games on Nickelodeon, where they just like have to spice it up with like a little bit of like slime, and they spice it up with like a little bit of like pigeony slang Max Holloway. Yeah, I don't think I could do it for the whole broadcast.
I know that you're saying this to be contradictory, but I want to put one thing up here that will speak to destroy the metaphor that you're trying to present, and then you'll understand more as to why mine is the only correct stance here. And here is the look at it. Look, this thing alone...
I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with the NFL Nickelodeon thing. I kind of like the whole thing, the vibe, and the bringing back fun to sport, because sports aren't always fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like I got into a conversation the other day with the MMA group, and they were talking about how the Chiesa Nagy fight, and I said it was a dominating performance from bell to bell. He won that fight, but man, it was hard to watch. It's like, great shoulder pressure, great transition. Didn't really go for the finish much. It was kind of just 25 minutes of just grappling. And somebody in the chat was like, well, as a grappler, I can appreciate it. And well, as a grappler, I fucking hate it, man. Like, you ever try and watch like IBJJF high level, the highest level guys against each other? It's fucking boring. You're lucky if someone scores a takedown. Like it's a game of inches. Anything like that's just boring. It's boring as fuck. Even EBI has, tried to make it as exciting as possible with the OT rules and, SUG and all these other organizations. But, in general, grappling, when you take two high-level guys, it's just a boring thing to watch. It's only fun when you throw in the cool little, like, game show rules like EBI, or you match up someone who's a stud against someone who's not so good, so you get to have a showcase. But high-level grappling is fucking a snooze.
Well, I think on that note, we're going to end it before the grappling community comes at you. But I would tell you this, Dan. We didn't have a finish in that fight. Unfortunately, But here's what we're going to do. We're going to say goodbye to you for now. I believe there is another card next week that we will probably see you for. But in the meantime, Dan, thank you so much for giving us your picks. And I want to tell everybody we're actually going to link where you can get that hat. Where is that hat found, Dan?
IPJJF.com. I got a compliment at the taco shop last week. So, it's a good hat.
Yes, when my kind compliments your kind, it is always high praise. I know that for sure. Dan, we're going to say goodbye to you. I thank you. I appreciate your time, bud. I'll see you next week.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
All right, peace. Oh, good Lord. Dan, I'm so glad that he's getting props from the taco crew. Hey, gang, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a momentary break. We're going to go back on a little bit later on the prelims. I got to take care of some stuff. I got to see some friends. But for right now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to give us a like and a share. I want you to say how much you loved it. Tell us something in the comments section. But we will be back for tonight's UFC's pay-per-view. So come back here. It's going to be live streaming with our fight companion all night long. We're going to start probably closer in the 7 p.m. region. But if you want to check in, you're more than welcome to find out more. The best way to find us is going to be through any of these channels down here. We will be airing live, strong, and long. Thanks one to Christopher James Velez. Appreciate you guys. We're going to take a momentary little pause, but don't worry, I'll be back on a little bit later. Can't appreciate you guys enough. My name's Rafa Esparza. We'll see you back in a few